Welcome to Only Ghosts in the Building with your hosts, Emily Claire
and Karen Lynn.
Today we are going to talk to each other. Not like we don't do that every day, but
That's true.
we literally talk
Almost
every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Several times a day usually.
Yes. Anyway, so we're going to introduce ourselves and kind of chit chat with each other and really get down to why we're doing this project, who we are, and why we're interested. So, Mother.
Well, of course, I was drugged kicking and screaming into this project by Emily.
It's true. It's true.
So I enjoy it. We've gone on ghost hunts. It's really been fun as a mother-daughter adventure. I'm interested in ghosts, but just the nice ones. I don't want to deal with bad spirits. But I believe that we all are spirits in a human body, and we can connect to one another. We can connect to the other side, if you want to call it that, the other side of the veil, some people call it. I'm very interested in near-death experiences. And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts that interview people that have had them. And they are almost always very positive. And one thing that they always have, or almost always have, is a feeling of overwhelming love on the other side. When they go to the other side and they're brought back, they remember that's what the majority of the feelings were. Just the feeling of love and being cared for, their connection with spirit or God or whoever you want to call it, your higher self, whatever it is, there is more than we know that's happening that we can't detect usually on our own. There's a few people that can, and we've seen them on TV, we've seen them in person. It's really fun to listen to the stories and connect loved ones. But
see, I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to say, having been doing what I've been doing for the past many years, that I'm not going to tell you how old I am, thank you. I definitely know that everybody can get into it. It's just a matter of taking those steps and connecting.
And vibration.
Yes.
So the higher level of vibration that you have, the easier it is to connect, because the spirits need to bring their vibration down to connect to our level. So the higher we get our vibration, then the easier it is to connect. And vibration is just, it's not hard to do. It's just that you have to concentrate on increasing the vibration of your whole system. We all are molecules that vibrate. Atoms vibrate. We vibrate all the time. Everything does have a vibration level. So it's just a matter of getting to that point where you can block things out and vibrate and connect. The first time I talked about NDE or read anything about NDE, it was Anita Morjani. She wrote a book where she was terribly ill. She died. She went and had an experience. She knew what was going on when she was away. She knew all the conversations that went on. She knew even remotely, like her brother was on a plane coming to see her. She knew all of this stuff because then she was just pure energy at that point, and she could look and see what was around her. She was given the option, according to her book, of coming back or staying. She knew that coming back would be very painful for her because she'd have to recover from her cancer. She had cancer. Her system shut down, and it was a long recovery, and she knew there'd be a lot of pain. But she was told that she needed to come back and she needed to tell her story. This has been going on a long time. A lot of people just sort of like, oh, that's a lot of frou-frou, I don't want to, I don't want to believe in it. But there's been enough now that I think that it's been well documented. Really very respected people.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of them are physicians, a lot of them aren't, but a lot of respected people have verified that when you leave your body, there is a certain piece of you that goes. They've been able to measure it, and then what happens when you come back. What happens after that, I don't know. That's kind of all up in the air. I'm not sure I believe everything I hear, but
right.
I do have a strong feeling that we are we go someplace positive where there's love. And
Well, I think you can also go to places that are negative, depending on, I think it's kind of your choice.
I
But
think
there's a
so.
lot to it, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, but there's more positive than
Right.
coming out and say there's negative. So it depends on your attitude.
Right.
Really.
I mean, that's the question, isn't it? Like, that's the big question.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's the question is like, what is going to happen when we die? How, all the different theories. I want to actually talk to people that believe in nothing. You know, they've done things and they've come up where they're like, no, I'm not convinced.
It's
I'd
just
like to hear
darkness,
that.
and I came back.
Yeah.
Right. There's different people have different experiences, and some
Yeah.
people say, well, it's just your dying brain telling you a story, and nobody knows really for sure, because what happens after that first initial few.
Yeah, but then there's been those stories where the person is on the operating table and they're bringing him back to life and he's above the body
He
in the
knows
thing.
exactly what's going on. That's what
And
I'm saying.
there's something on top of the shelf that you wouldn't be able to see from down below, but he's like, no, it's there, and then it is there.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
Anita explained. She knew people were having conversations out
Yeah.
in the hallway, and she knew what they were talking about.
Right. In the hallway, not in her room.
Where she wouldn't have been able
She
to
wouldn't
hear
have heard it if she was alive.
Right.
Right?
Right. So that's all kind of fun
Interesting.
to think about, and interesting, and mind expanding if you want to think about it, whether you believe it or not. I always think
I think it's more fun to believe for sure.
absolutely. I would rather go someplace that has a lot of love than like nowhere or someplace horrible.
Yeah.
After I die, but we do go somewhere, and there is something that happens to us, and they've done enough studies in hospice patients that they see dead relatives and they're talking to them before they pass.
Yeah.
So the veil is lifted for them as they get close to the end.
I have a couple of stories of people I know that are going through that right now.
Yeah, I think, well, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Now, you're interested in something called, what is it?
High strangeness,
High
but
strangeness. You have to tell me
NDE
what that is.
NDE is actually part of high strangeness. I know we're talking a lot about near death experiences, but that's where Mom really is fascinated by. But I like the other stuff, all the other things. I mean, that's cool, but she's got that covered. I like cryptids. I want to know what Bigfoot is. I love alien stuff. I'm an X-Files nerd. I grew up watching that. So all those little layers of weirdness, the strangeness, high strangeness, where this goes back a long way. There's all kinds of different things that we can go back into ancient times. Here we are again. I mean, I guess we're all kind of interested in witchcraft and things like that. But that's because, we've had a lot of things that are unknown, pandemic and things like that.
Right, we're looking at our mortality,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah.
What's beyond our mortality. We were kind of brought up to face with it during COVID and the pandemic, and how we all knew people that either had it and got really sick, and then they have long COVID, or they
Have
passed
died.
away,
Yeah.
sometimes in horrible kind of conditions.
Ways, yeah.
Where they're in the hospital and their loved one is around to help them. And no hospice. Hospice does great things to help people pass. There's
Yeah.
a lot of a calming effect that hospice workers have,
Mm-hmm.
and must be a difficult job. But
Yeah.
that's something that's very interesting. But a lot of it, I think we've been able to connect to each other more, of people of like mind, and we can communicate now with social media a lot better.
Yeah.
Find people who have had experiences.
Anybody can pick up a microphone and computer and talk about this stuff online and put it a podcast. So, that's what we're doing.
But also intuition is a big thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't take intuition seriously. They have a feeling or a gut feeling, and
That was fun for me. Is back in the day, I knew what song was going to play on the radio.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I do that once in a while. Too.
Yeah, you get like you start humming a tune and then it comes on.
Then it comes.
Well, I don't listen to the radio anymore, but
Yeah.
I listen to.
Radio is so
It's passe.
2000s.
1990s. No, I definitely, I think we all have those little sneaking suspicions or spidey tingles, you know, that
And we don't follow
spidey
up
senses.
on it because we've been told to ignore it.
Yeah.
We've learned to ignore those feelings. Because,
Dogma.
Yeah.
There's a lot of religious dogma out there.
People don't want to admit that there's things that we don't know.
Yeah.
Things we can't see.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, we can't see the air, but we know that it goes between us and we breathe.
Right.
And, you know, apparently we drink the same water that Cleopatra drank, you know, because the molecules don't go away. But we didn't know about molecules back in I mean,
Right.
How long has this just been? A couple hundred years?
Bacteria,
that we really know
germs.
about anything that we can't see.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole range of light that we can't see.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
And people can see other people's auras. Some people don't believe in that.
Yeah.
There's Reiki.
Reiki, definitely.
Part of your thing as well is the manipulation of energy.
Yeah.
Anything else we need to cover here?
Oh, yeah, so I'm pretty obsessed with Mothman and Bigfoot.
Tell that story about Mothman and camping.
Yeah, so the Mothman Prophecies came out, and I really liked that movie. And then I picked up the book, and so we went camping, and in Virginia, because we were going to Busch Gardens, because that's my favorite place. Anyway, we were going camping in the woods, and I'm reading this book, and I'm just terrified. It's so scary. I'm like, Mothman's out there. I'm not going out there.
Wasn't the right Virginia? I guess it was really Ohio, right?
Well, it was West Virginia, Ohio
Virginia and Ohio.
border.
But,
Yeah.
But still, it's a frightening story. And you know,
Right.
red glowing eyes when you're
Right.
camping is
And then
kind of a scary thing.
People getting conjunctivitis and having things chase them down the road and all kinds of weird stuff. That's high strangeness.
That's how strange it is.
So shout out John Keel. So yeah, there's all that, but I also, you know, I want to know why I get my intuition, or, you know, I've been places and I've talked to people in my head that aren't alive anymore, and they've told me things and they wanted to pass messages on. Like, I've had those experiences. So I'm kind of trying to dig in deep to find out why I can do it, why I think other people can do it. That's just a matter of training. Like, I know.
I don't think you got that from me. I'm not sure.
No, I do, because I know that there are people in our family that had experiences.
Well, I had experiences too, but I
Right.
ignored them and didn't even think about it until we started this process.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think it was in our bloodline. I think Papa brought some stuff to our lineage, but
I'm
you
not
know,
sure he'd agree with you if he was alive right now, but
yeah, but he's not, and he is agreing with me on from
Now
the other
he is.
side,
On the other side.
but maybe not when he was
Maybe I
alive.
should have told you more. We could have had some good conversations.
It would have been fun.
But your first experience was the closet in the house on Breezeway Drive.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been more, and I just don't remember. But my closet was spooky. That thing was open while I was sleeping, and to the point where the cat was standing in front of it, and he had his fur fluffed up behind on his back and his tail, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at the door, and I look back at him, and then I look at the door, and then it shuts, and then I just like go lay down on my back and go, oh my god.
So that was
creepy.
the only room in the house that we had an experience, and it was a new house. It wasn't like we were living in an old house that had been occupied previously.
Well, there was footsteps up the stairs too.
Well, that was true. Yeah,
people weren't home.
Footsteps on the steps.
And my theory is that because we were on farmland, we were right by the farmhouse where that guy would play the bagpipes at night.
Yeah, that's great.
That was fun. And I think, I think the land at that point, I think that was
something there. But why your closet?
I don't know. Maybe
Our
that was
bedroom is
poltergeist.
right next to your closet, and I don't like the thought of something horrible being right next to me.
No, and that's why I was very scared, and I used to lock my closet. I had 2 closets actually, and the one was around, like, I don't know, it's like around this little corner, so I would have to like sit up and turn my head to see it. But that was also straight underneath the attic that I would have the dreams about the man in our attic coming down the attic steps and going into your room. And then I would have that dream all the time, multiple times.
So you never told me this.
No, because it was the dream.
And I was.
Why am I going to tell you this?
Because if I had known that, I would have been a little bit more nervous.
Well, good. I'm glad I
sent you to the psychiatrist.
Well, I was already going to the psychiatrist
Not
anyway.
at that point. That wasn't until later.
Okay.
We can talk about that later. Anyway.
No, that was just chemicals in my brain that weren't firing the way that they need to. And that,
so
my neurodivergence.
You had ADD. You were diagnosed with ADD.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that made you more sensitive to things, because you were very sensitive.
Yeah.
Always very sensitive as a child.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not like, oh, I'm so sensitive. Don't say something bad to me.
I mean,
but
that
you were
too.
Very conscious. Well, that too. But that was your teen years, and everybody does that.
Yeah.
But you just were. A very calm and relaxed child, so you didn't really get upset about a whole lot of things.
Huh.
I didn't see you as being like out of control about anything.
You mean like my son?
Yeah, like my grandson. Thank you. Not my genes.
my little crazy man.
But that was your kind of first experience with that. My aunt and I, when I was, I don't know, a young teenager, pre-teen or early teens, she lived in the Philly area. She worked in Philly, and she'd take me on different adventures. She wasn't married at that time, so we went to the art museum.
She was the cool aunt.
She was the aunt, yes, and she was a little wacky.
Woohoo!
So we went to the art museum, and we were walking around, and they were having furniture displays. And we walked into this one room that had sort of like, it was, all I remember, it was like dark furniture, whether it was medieval type furniture or, I don't know, big, heavy pieces of furniture. We walked in, and we both turned around and walked out. And we did not like it in that room. There was something that was bad.
It was creepy.
It was scary.
Yeah.
It was like, no, this isn't the place to be.
Yeah, and see, you trusted your instincts.
Yeah, well,
and you left.
We both like skedaddled.
Yeah.
And then said, what was that?
Yeah.
But I didn't remember it, didn't think about it. So.
Yeah. Well, but, I mean, your brother.
Yeah, and he never told me, but it's kind of a sad story. He died in a car accident in 1970. He was out with the guys, and they had been partying. And
how old was he at that time?
21.
21? Okay.
And driving down the road, and the driver, he was in the back seat, and the driver hit a tree and killed all the occupants except the driver lived.
Oh.
And
could you imagine having that guilt?
Yeah, and he ended up going to prison, which is really kind of, I mean, I guess that's what you do, but my dad wasn't really thrilled about him having to go to prison because he said it could have been
anybody. Well, was he drunk?
Well, they had been drinking, so at least drunk.
Yeah.
And it could have been more, but
yeah, I guess because you kill people when you're drunk driving.
Anyway, before the accident, he had told my aunt, again, my aunt, maybe that's where you get it, that he was going to be killed in a car accident in the backseat of a yellow Camaro, and that's exactly what happened. He knew it in advance. Would I've gotten a yellow Camaro in the backseat if I'd known that? I don't know. I don't think so.
He would have been like, I'm going to avoid
But
that.
she said that afterwards, and I was like, really? I mean, that's really scary. So,
Well,
that was the experience that he had.
I think the weird part is that he tempted that fate.
I know. I mean,
He challenged
he was
it.
like that, though. He
Yeah.
pushed the envelope big time.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm guessing he was a tad bit neurodivergent as well.
Yes. I think back in those days, if they had a diagnosis, it would have been ADHD. Because
Yeah.
he was off the wall sometimes. He was just a crazy man. And he really was very, very pushing the envelope on everything. I'm going to say that, but he was a little wild.
Yeah.
So that's the stories I have.
Yeah. Well, and then you have stories now with me.
I know, on our adventures, but that's as far as that. For a long time, I didn't even think about these things. It
Yeah.
was just sort of like, well, they happened, and
Yeah.
that was it.
And you were going through your life and doing your things without really paying attention to that stuff. But now my neurospiciness makes me hyperfixate on this stuff. So I think this has been like ghosts and spiritual stuff has been a running theme of my whole life. So I've always been interested in phenomena and all the cool stuff, and because I was the weird kid for sure.
I remember you watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer and loving that show.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer shaped my life.
So I guess that's kind of our backstory. We've gone on a few ghost adventures
Together.
We went to the spiritualist camp in
Yeah,
Casadega.
Casadega.
That was interesting.
And I'd like
During
to go.
Halloween.
Yeah, that was fun. Didn't we go twice?
Yeah, we did go.
Was it twice in the one trip that I or
think so.
two different
I think they were two
times, two different Florida
One
trips
was
for
just
me.
before I moved from Florida. And
Yeah.
the other was, I think, earlier than that.
Yeah. Yeah, we both had a reading, and we went on the orb tour.
We went into the church, or what's the building that had the rooms where you could sit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, the church. They have their church, and it looks just like a church with a bunch of sunflowers everywhere. But there's that room upstairs, and when you walk in, you can feel it's like walking into static electricity. It's like really thick in that room. Like the vibe is real thick. But I don't think we were around for when they were going to actually use that.
No, we didn't actually do that. But they had classes. You could take classes and things like that.
Well, we went that one night, and we thought it was the next night. We thought we were going to the church, or I don't remember what it's called.
Going to, and they didn't. We had the date wrong.
Yeah, we had the wrong date, but we walked into the place, and it was actual class, and they said, "Oh, no, stay for free. If you want to donate, cool, but stay because this is their last class, and they need people to practice with that they don't know."
And they were doing psychic readings.
Yeah.
Right.
And she gave me a bunch of interesting information, and I was like, yeah, I know, this is me. And she actually pulled me up and had me do a reading.
Right in.
Yeah, that was my vibe. I was like, I know. But man, I was scared getting up there in front of all these people that had been like working together with each other for a while.
Taking classes.
Yeah, doing the
month
class.
or so.
Yeah, and I was just like, my knees were shaking. Like I could barely stand up. So I know that getting up like that and doing readings that's not what I want to do. Too much. And having looked into spiritualist training, you have to do that for 3 years before you can get.
It's a long process.
Yeah,
You have to be accepted too.
Yes.
And you have to kind of live there because it's not
Well,
like something you can pop in and out of.
No, then they don't do it online, and you have to volunteer and do all this stuff. So it's that we're going on a tangent because ADD, but like, whew.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
And, just really quick hit on the lighthouse.
The lighthouse.
St. Augustine.
Yeah.
That was really, we had experiences there. We'll
Yeah.
cover that in a different episode.
Yeah.
And then experiences at
The Mountain Lodge in
the
Virginia.
Mountain Lodge in
Yeah.
Virginia.
Yeah.
That's where they filmed Dirty Dancing, but there's also some spiritual stuff that goes on there.
Yeah, they don't really talk about it, but there is definitely a ghost there. I mean, it's a stone lodge that's been around for a very long time.
Apparently, was it the owner or something that's still
Yeah.
around?
Why is it always a Mary? I think it was a Mary.
I don't know.
It's always a Mary. Well, I guess because Mary was the most popular name
And
for.
Fort Delaware.
And Fort Delaware, though we didn't really have much. We just had a couple of like feelings.
Well, I did. I had that.
Well, it
experience
was a feeling.
neck. Felt like I was attacked. But
Well, I see. Maybe it was just a residual, like, this is what I went through. You know what I mean?
because it was in an area where people had been, fighting each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we still around? And why do I have this sharp pain in my neck?
Yeah, and it
But
was,
again, that's another.
yeah, that will be another podcast. But that was, the cells. So, and I felt sick at the same
the
time.
cells downstairs. It was very heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely where the prisoners were kept. So, and they explained some of the.
Yeah.
And who was the guy that was there that first?
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, Daryl Marsden from Ghost Hunters
And
was
he
there.
had his first experience there, which led him down the path.
Yes.
To,
Yeah.
doing what he's doing. So.
Yeah. And I have his book. I haven't finished it because ADHD. I blame everything on ADHD, by the way.
Well, that or you're a child.
Yeah. It's so hard to sit down and read a book. I wish it was on Audible, actually. I'd get through it so much faster.
So, anyway,
Yeah.
getting back to what we're really supposed to be talking about.
Right.
I'd like to suspend disbelief
Yes.
and
Yep.
just kind of go with the flow and then kind of troubleshoot it later. and
Yeah.
see what we can really prove and what we can't.
Right.
So,
I like to come in open but skeptical.
right.
Yeah.
See what we can find and
Yeah.
we debunk them,
Yeah.
discredit them, or whatever we
Yeah, whatever it is. What are your expectations to come from this experiment or project?
Just to I would like to just have people understand that normal people, regular people like us, can have experiences, can enjoy it if that's what you believe in and you want to enjoy it. You don't even have to believe in it. You can just see if you like it or not, and take it for what it is. Suspend disbelief, I
Yeah.
guess is what I'm saying, and just kind of go with it and find what your level of interest is in it. Everybody has different experiences. There
Yeah.
are different levels with everything. Some people are just getting started. Some people go, oh, geez, I've been doing this for years. This is boring.
Right.
But that's my expectation, is just being able to continue on and
Yeah.
bring,
Awareness.
just bring these stories to say people that haven't had experiences or are thinking about going to have experiences, that it doesn't have to be all ghost hunters that you see on TV with
Spookies.
and all the spooky music that goes on behind it.
I mean, if you are interested in getting spooked out, then yeah, you could probably do that. But
Yeah, and I'm sure that there's going to be places that we go to or stories that we hear.
that are going to be spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about you? What is your thought about it?
Well, following that up is I think the spirit world is, they're people that have passed,
Right.
or if you have different belief system, you could have angels and demons and ascended masters and fairies and gnomes and all that stuff. So, and it's like anything else,
High
like
strangeness.
high strangeness. Like there's going to be some good
UFOs.
and there's going to be some bad, and you never know what you're going to get specifically. Life is like a box of Ghosts are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. I think it's important. There's been, for my whole life, there's been a stigma against people who are creepy, spooky, had experiences. They've all been labeled crazy people, or like, oh, we don't talk about ghosts. I think that's a lot of religious dogma.
Right.
I
think that's where a lot of that comes
from.
And evil.
Yeah.
Evil spirits.
You can't talk about it. You can't. Well, but they're most likely just another person.
Most of them pray to people that are invisible.
Yes. Yes.
And they
like
messages from God and from
like you have faith in that. Well, what's to say this isn't happening too?
It's just expanding your horizons.
Exactly. Right? And I think there are spirits out there that need our help. Moving on or getting acknowledged, and some want to play because they're playful, and some want to be left alone,
right? And
they put up their boundaries with you. I think it's just like human beings, just not in the meat sack. They're just out of their meat sack and hanging out, and they're interested in this, that, and the other. And I think there are layers to this that are, some can be closer to us and some it's harder to get a hold of because they're further away in whatever multiverse dimensional craziness that I can't even understand because I'm a human.
It's a matrix.
That I'll find out when I'm dead. But by the way, my favorite place that I am going to go haunt when I die is I'm going to the Stanley Hotel in Estes, Colorado.
Oh, you've been there too,
yeah.
I forgot about that.
I've been there twice now, and I love that place. The vibe there is so cool, and I was like, nope, that's where I'm going when I die. I'll come visit other places, but I want to hang out there.
Me in. Say, come on, Mom.
We're going to the Stanley. We're going to go talk to some people there.
Going on a ghost hunt.
Yeah.
We need that song.
Yeah.
Instead of a bear hunt.
We're going on a ghost hunt. I've got my K2 meter. I'm not scared. Yeah. So if you don't get that, you don't have a toddler that watches YouTube. So, anyway, we're gonna end this here, and
our next episode.
Oh yeah.
Will be actually our experiences at the mansion.
Rockwood Mansion. We're doing our deep dive on it.
Yes, and talk about specifically where we went in the house and who was there.
Who are the people?
And the people that live there are still hanging around.
Yeah.
And it's not in a bad way. It's a good way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really excited.
They want to meet up with us. It's really cool.
We also want to interview people who have had experiences that may not have wanted to tell anyone else.
Because you have stigma.
Because of stigma.
Yeah.
Or may have remembered something that happened and they forgot about it because they didn't want to remember it. Because it was a little frightening.
Scary.
Yeah. So we want to hear from people that have had these kinds of experiences so that we can talk to you, get information, and tell the rest of the people about it.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so write in at onlyghostsinthebuilding@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at onlyghostsinthebuilding, or Facebook also at onlyghostsinthebuilding. Ghost with an S. And we will see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this first episode of Only Ghosts in the Building. I just wanted to pop in and say thank you for listening, and please like, subscribe, follow us, find us everywhere, and also understand that this was our first episode and we were having some technical difficulties with the microphones, but from here on out it should be much better. Thanks for bearing with us, and we love you.